6:04. I welcome you all to the ordinary meeting of Council for the 17th of February 2025, and I also welcome those members of the gallery. The public is advised that it is Council policy to record the proceedings of meetings of Council on digital media to assist in the preparation of minutes and to ensure that a true and accurate account of debate and discussion of meetings is available. This audio recording is authorised by the Local Government Meeting Procedures Regulations 2015. I now declare our meeting open at 6:04. And I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners and custodians of the land on which we meet today, the Tomagina people, and to pay our respect to those that have passed before us, their history and their culture. The first item is record of attendance. We have two apologies this evening, Deputy Mayor Edwards and Councillor Courtney. Okay, item 2 is confirmation of the minutes of the previous meeting. You have a motion before you, everyone, and the recommendation is that you pass these minutes after they have been circulated prior to the meeting and to confirm them as a true and correct record.
So moved.
Thank you, Councillor Bramage. Could I have
Seconded.
a seconder, Councillor Roberts? Are there any corrections to the minutes, because they must be identified and agreed upon at this point prior to taking a vote to adopt the minutes? If there are no corrections, I put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. Item 2.2 is confirmation of minutes of the previous special meeting, that the minutes of this special meeting held at Council on Wednesday the 5th of February 2025, a copy of which has been previously circulated to councillors prior to the meeting, be confirmed as a true record. Could I have a mover for that motion, please? Right, Councillor Hyland, you moved? Yep, and Councillor Roberts seconded. Any corrections to the minutes are to be identified and agreed at this point prior to taking a vote to adopt the minutes. Any corrections to those minutes? If not, I put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. Item 3 is declarations of interest. Are there any declarations of interest from the floor from councillors or staff? If there are no declarations of interest, I'll move on to item 4, councillors' announcements and report. 4.1, announcements by the Mayor. I don't have any this month. And 4.2, the Mayor's communications. The recommendation is that the Council note the Mayor's communications. Could I have a mover for that motion, please?
Second.
Councillor. Okay, who moved? Sorry. Councillor Roberts moved and Councillor Johnson seconded. Are there any questions or comments about the Mayor's diary at this point? I put the motion. If there is nothing else that we need to discuss, all those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. Reports by delegates, we have not received any. 4.4, notification of council workshops. There is a recommendation before you, councillors. Could I have a mover for that motion? Councillor Hyland and seconded Councillor Raw. Are there any comments that anyone wishes to make in relation to this motion? If not, I put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. Item 5, public questions and statements. 5.3 are public questions without notice, and we will have public statements as well without notice. But before we start that part of the meeting, I need to read a statement from the Council. The Council encourages community participation in its meetings through the opportunity for public questions and statements. Consistent with Council's core values, councillors and staff strive to ensure all people are treated with respect and integrity. We expect our residents and ratepayers to apply similar standards in their dealings with Council. As Mayor, it is my responsibility to maintain the orderly conduct of Council meetings and to determine whether a question or statement is out of order due to the use of offensive, objectionable or defamatory expressions. I remind everyone that these meeting procedures were adopted some time ago, and in particular it should be noted that a maximum of 3 questions may be asked per person. Any parts to questions are considered to be questions. All questions to be asked before a response is provided. There is a time limit of 3 minutes per person to ask those questions. Once a question is answered, there is to be no debate on that question. Public statements are limited to a maximum of 3 minutes per person. There is to be no questions or discussions related to that statement. Ask members of the public to show proper consideration and courtesy in their comments. So, Mr. Berry, would you like to come forward, please? And there is a switch at the bottom of the microphone. If you run your hand down that, and you'll see the switch at the back.
Madam Mayor, fellow councillors and staff, I'd like to thank you for giving me the time tonight to speak to you. I'm here to represent the many dog owners who enjoy the Somerset Dog Beach, which is the West Beach at Somerset. For some years we've been lobbying council to install a dog bag station in the turning circle between the 2 beaches, and we continue to lobby. Previously there were 2 rubbish bins in the area of the turning circle. Unfortunately they've been removed, and it has resulted in a build-up of rubbish in the area. Our dog beach, as some of you may be aware, is very popular. It's used by obviously dogs, horses, and families with 4-wheel drives go on, but they understand they go up to the far end of the beach. They don't cause any problem. The dogs that are running around off lead don't cause problems. Everyone enjoys the beach. Now, I'd ask you to once again install a rubbish bin in the turning circle along with the dog bag station. Those of you that may not know, the East Beach, which is not an off-lead beach, has 2 dog bag stations, one at either end. The other beach doesn't have one yet. So, in conclusion, I would ask that you give earnest consideration to having a dog bag station installed in the turning circle. Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Berry.
Council's allowed to ask you questions. Do they have any questions?
No, they're not allowed to ask you any questions, but I will take that question on notice, and we'll get back to you with a solution.
Thank you very much, Mayor.
Are there any more speakers this evening? No. Okay, fine. No public statements. So we will be moving on to our Planning Authority, which is now opened at 6:13 for the Planning Authority items. We have no public questions without notice, and we have no public statements relating to planning matters. Item 6.3, visitor accommodation, campground and toilet block located at 20 Lowry's Road, Aldina. The recommendation is that Council, in accordance with Section 51 and Section 57 of the Land Use Planning and Approvals Act 1993 and the Tasmanian Planning Scheme Waratah Wynyard, grant approval for visitor accommodation, campground and toilet block at 20 Lowry's Road, Aldina, subject to several conditions that are listed. Could I have a mover for that motion, please?
So moved.
Councillor Highland. Could I have a seconder? Councillor Bramich.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Thank you. Councillor Highland, do you wish to speak to this motion?
Thanks, Madam Chair. Yes, obviously I'm in favour, and it's met the requirements, and it is something different that we haven't had before. And I did note that it's for tent camping only, no caravans, no utes or whatever. So it is a little bit out of the way, but I think given what the caravanners or the campers are doing now, they're tending to get out in the country, and we've had such brilliant weather. So good luck to the people that are going to run it, have a crack at it, and it's certainly in a bit of a rugged area as well. So there's a creek runs through it, Blackfish Creek. So they've got a little bit of everything there, and it's a little bit hilly, I understand, but anyway, there's plenty of room for them, and yeah, once again, good luck to them with the venture.
Thank you, Councillor Highland. Councillor Bramich.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, look, I fully support the motion in front of us, and I reckon it's brilliant that people are making use of their blocks of ground, because at the end of the day, they're not going to make too much money out of it in farming. And it's really encouraging to see these sort of things happening in our area. And I say good luck, and well done for thinking about the situation that you got, and that's sort of, and I hope it goes really well for them. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bramich. Are there any speakers against this motion, please? As there are no speakers against the motion and there is no need to sum up, I'm going to put the motion and ask you to identify if you support the motion. So all those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. The Planning Authority part of this meeting has closed at 6:16. Item 7, matters raised by councillors. 7.1, responses to councillor questions. 7.1.1, Councillor Bramich, Goldie Street, you've asked a question with an officer's response. And before I continue, I do need to remind you that none of these responses will be discussed or debated at this point. 7.1.2, Councillor Bramich, Calder Road roundabout, a question with an officer's response. And Councillor Bramich, Pages Road, you asked a question there with another response, and Councillor Bramich, the line marking trial. So there has been a response provided for you there. 7.1.5, Councillor Highland, the Stamper Mill, you asked a question and the officers have responded. Councillor Raw, the penguin viewing experience, your question about the penguin viewing experience has been responded to. And Councillor Highland, long-term plan for Wonders of Wynyard. There is a lengthy response there to your question. 7.1.8, Councillor Bramich, pop-up tourism information services. You have asked a question again, Councillor Bramich, and the officers have provided a long response to that one as well. And 7.1.9, Councillor Bramich, load limits, Boat Harbour Beach. You've asked a question and a response has been provided. You sure did, Councillor Bramich. 7.2, councillor questions received in writing. There are none. And at this point, 7.3, councillor questions without notice. Are there any questions without notice this evening? If not, I'm going to move on to item 8. Notice of motion 8.1, Councillor Johnson, you have a motion that you propose about the Wynyard Pickleball Club The council work with the Wynyard Pickleball Club and the Wynyard Somerset Tennis Club towards the sharing of existing facilities and provide a report to council of the findings by the 17th of March 2025. So could you please move your motion?
So moved.
Thank you. Could I have a second of that?
I'll second that.
Councillor Bramich seconded that motion. Councillor Johnson, would you like to open the debate?
Yeah,
Please.
obviously the Pickleball Club have come to me and wanted to discuss the utilising an area such as the tennis clubs in both Wynyard and Somerset. The Pickleball Club have been playing second party to a lot of the other clubs in town, and a growing club as they are. They've been going for about 18 months now, and are already showing a membership of 150 people, and probably 130 of those are ratepayers. The good thing about the pickleball, it is an age, say anyone can play age. We've got, say the Pickleball Club have got ages from the age of 12 to, and I think the eldest would be 80. So everyone can play this game, which is good. But the only one thing is lack of space, and that's where they are. I think they come to me and they said they've offered to even pay for the lines to be put on to the courts, and that's a sum of about 3,200 with a pressure clean and lines on just starting with one court. So yeah, I think it's going to be a good thing if we can work with e.g. the tennis club and the pickleball club to see what we can do. So a fantastic yeah.
Thank you, Councillor Johnson. Are there any speakers against this motion? Speakers for the motion, Councillor Bramich.
Thank you, Mayor. Look, I believe several months ago now, Mr. Smith come along here talking about a similar thing regarding the pickleball. And look, I fully support the motion, and I might join up when I'm 81 to be the oldest member.
Thank you, Councillor Bramich. Councillor Highland.
Thanks, Madam Chair. Yeah, the thing that I'm sort of wondering, it's been on the books now for quite a while, after we had Mr. Smith along. The council owns both the courts, and just during the notes there, I'm just wondering why that the staff are sort of putting the pickleball club on the spot to get them to start negotiations. Is there any reason why that the council's just not taking this on and dealing with it? Because they've got money to do the lines and all sorts. So I'm just a bit bewildered that it's not sort of taken off. We're back now to where we can put a proposal to next year's budget or this coming budget. So.
Okay, are you asking that question
Yep.
of our acting general manager?
I am.
Through you, Mayor, look, I wasn't part of those conversations, but I could only surmise officers asking them to have that conversation with the other groups to start with, to identify whether they could do that immediately without going through council processes. But here we are, we've got the consideration to make. Probably a factor when Mr. Smith came and spoke to council in July was, and he noted it himself, he was concerned around one club managing bookings of a facility. So those types of arrangements prevailed at that point in time. They can always be reviewed by council, so that may have been a factor in that advice as well.
Thank you, Mr. Summers, and I'm sure it'll become clearer as time goes on and gets sorted. Councillor Roberts.
I just quickly want to credit the Pickleball Club for the way they've gone about this. They've followed all the proper channels really, and even a few months back with Mr. Smith and the whole not all of them, but that whole gallery was full of pickleball members, and that really lets us know in our face just how many of them there actually are. The work they've done is incredible. It's accessible for all ages in our community, and I really think it's important that we recognise these sort of trends. It's trending in that area that pickleball's just picking up, and I think our community should be straight onto it, and absolutely. And if they're an association or group registered, I'd encourage them to actually apply for our community assistance grants for up to $2,000. I believe the next round's open in July and it's closing in August, and that could probably somewhat contribute to the cost of the lines. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. My own experience with pickleball is not actually playing, but I've had several people from Burnie congratulate the Wynyard Club because it's easy to access from Burnie, and they're very happy to come over the river to play their games. So I think it's full credit to that club, and congratulations on putting the motion forward. So if there are no speakers against the motion, I'm going to put the motion. All those in... Oh, Councillor Bramage.
Can I ask a question, sorry?
Of whom?
Of who, I guess, the top end of the table.
Okay.
I'll put
The acting general manager. Yep.
Things here on the spot. What are we going to do? Have we decided what we're going to do? Like, because it's probably very important that they get an answer soon of what they can do.
Okay.
I guess that's just where it's going.
Thank you, Mr. Summers.
Through you, Mayor, look, you've got the motion moved in front of you, which directs officers to work with the two clubs around sharing facilities and bring a report back. You have alternately an option for amending or moving it or making an amendment to that motion if you prefer more direct action.
Yeah.
No. Councillor Roberts, please don't speak out of turn. Councillor Bramage, are you finished with your question?
Yeah, I'd like to amend the motion. That,
Okay.
unless Councillor Hyland wanted to, I don't want to step
Councillor
up.
Bramage, could you excuse me, Councillor Roberts?
I'd like to amend the motion that action happens sooner than later, or whatever your wording is, as the acting director, Linda, what is it, GM said.
Our acting GM.
Yes.
Mr. Summers, how do we respond to that amendment?
Through you, Mayor, I guess if you'd like to define what that action is, whether it's line marking or other, but equally how and who might fund that. If it's intended to be council, you would need to, as part of this, move an amendment to the budget. So, yeah.
I believe pickleball will fund it, so I don't believe council will have to put any money. It'll just be time to negotiate something. Right.
Maybe through you, Mayor, maybe Councillor Bramage, if you just want to run by what you'd like to see an amended motion look like again.
Well, I guess it's been several months now since Mrs. Smith was here, and I don't want, for the pickleball, it's sport and people that's wanting something to happen. I don't want them to have to wait several more months. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Mm-hmm.
If you understand what I mean.
Yep.
Councillor Johnson might be able to spit it out better.
Councillor Johnson, would you like to...
Obviously, these guys are ready, and the line markers are ready to go mid-March. So that's the availability that they can do the line marking. So whether there's a motion into that, the motion's put forward that the line markers are able to do the line marking in mid-March. Action taken.
Excuse me, Councillor Roberts.
Through you, Mayor, then if I'm to pick up what's described, is it as per the screen I'll read there, that council work with the Wynyard Pickleball Club and the Wynyard Somerset Tennis Club towards the sharing of existing facilities and approve the line marking for pickleball use at, I guess it's up to whoever wants to move the amendment to nominate a facility. Being Wynyard or Somerset.
As the amender of the motion, that goes back to Councillor Bramage.
Thank you. Well, I'd like to get some advice off Councillor Johnson whether they're just going to do one facility or whether they've got the money to do both facilities. I don't know that.
I think they'll just start with the Wynyard facility and go from there.
That's what we'll go with then. I've got that information. Thanks.
Okay, so the original motion was that the council work with the Wynyard Pickleball Club at the Wynyard Somerset Tennis Club towards sharing of existing facilities and provide a report to council of the findings by the 17th of March. And the amendment is suggesting that the council approve the line marking.
Just for a point of clarity, does the amender of the motion want that to include both courts or one court, just for a point of detail, I guess? So.
The amender. Councillor Bramage.
Yeah, we'll start with Wynyard and we'll work on Somerset.
Two tennis courts at the Wynyard facility, so line marking for both.
Yep. And then we'll worry about Somerset. Sorry, I just want something to happen,
Thank you, Councillor Bramage. No more comment.
Through you, Mayor. Apologies for the back and forth. The other part that I think was intended to be captured is to be funded by pickleball, if I'm not incorrect.
Yep, that's correct.
Okay, we have an amendment. Did I get a seconder for that amendment? No, I didn't. Your Councillor Roberts has seconded that amendment. Are there any further speakers to this amendment? Councillor Hyland, you were...
Oh, yep. You're right. I'll go if you like.
Go.
Yeah, I'm just not 100% sure on there whether you have actually tied in the fact that they need to negotiate with Somerset as well. They need to do the negotiations whilst they are going to start on the Wynyard one because they've got some money to do the line marking, but they need to be doing the two leases, or they need to tie the whole thing up together while they're doing the negotiations, I believe. Is that a fair comment?
Through you, Mayor, we've got facilities plural there. That's the advice to come back.
Yeah,
so
I can't read that on the...
That's okay. The line marking though, that the wording there has been specific towards just the Wynyard facility. So difference between the two. Yep.
Okay, you're happy with that, Councillor Hyland? Okay. Councillor Roberts, did you have anything to add?
I was just going to actually amend it myself, Councillor Bramage. I just was that factor of, can council negotiate with pickleball and the tennis clubs to have an agreement done up by the next meeting so that we can motion it from there? Meaning that the agreement's in place by the next meeting, that will solve the issue, Councillor Bramage, of it dragging on for months. if council staff themselves, as a matter of operations, handle this one and then have that agreement ready by the next meeting.
Through you, Mayor, I've got to be up front. That's quite a workload for staff to pick up with an already full workload between meetings. We did put in the officer's comment that might be a time frame that's required, but we will certainly do our best to meet the intended motion.
Thank you, Mr. Summers. Are there any further speakers to this amendment? Are there any speakers against the amendment? If there are no further speakers, I put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. The amendment now becomes the motion. Okay. Is there any further debate on this motion, please?
I'd just like to thank everyone for doing what they've done to get the motion up. I was pretty vague with it, but I just wanted something to happen.
Thank you, Councillor Bramage. We do look after you. If there are no further speakers to this motion, I put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. 8.2, there is a motion that Councillor Courtney had submitted for this meeting. This motion will have to lay on the table until she returns to the council. So, moving on to item 9, reports of officers and committees. 9.1, community activation grants round 2. Could I have a mover for that motion, please? Councillor Raw.
Could I move that motion, please?
Okay.
Seconded.
Councillor Roberts seconded. Councillor Raw, do you wish to speak to this motion?
Only that this type of grant has become quite popular within the community, and I think a lot of groups see it as a powerful way to get some money into their organisation, some added money to be able to do what they require to do to progress their service back to the community. So a very valued grant process.
Thank you, Councillor Raw. Are there any further speakers to this motion? Are there any speakers against the motion? If not, I put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. 9.2, Austin Street Road closure. There is a recommendation before you, councillors, that you note the results of the trial closure of Austin Street and determine its intent to close Austin Street Wynyard immediately south of Jenner Street in the interest of public safety associated with the Wynyard Sports Precinct Master Plan objectives, and progresses the statutory process under Section 14 of the Local Government Highways Act 1982, and receives a subsequent report regarding any submissions received in respect to Council's intent to effect the road closure. Could I have a mover for that motion, please?
So moved.
Councillor Hyland moved.
Seconded.
Seconded, Councillor Roberts. Councillor Hyland, do you wish to speak to this motion?
Yeah, thanks, Madam Chair. Yeah, the word safety is it's the key word in this project, and it's a very long-term project. We've got a lot of work to do around in that area, and the fact that we're utilising the current footy oval, the current basketball stadium, and combined it with the land around the Wynyard High School. We've already commenced fairly well on the high school. We've got one ground complete. The plans, I think, have been drawn up for the indoor training centre, which will be a huge success, and that alone will draw a lot of juniors, in particular, from the main footy area and the cricket area during the summer. They'll be transgressing across to the indoor training centre, and we just cannot have vehicles in that area. I think it's just a very good move to close that off. So it's just a sporting precinct. There'll be numerous car parks, I would imagine. Buses will be able to come and park in the area, and then they can do what they need to do in the footy season. In particular, because of the winter, it's dark at 5 o'clock, and there'll be a lot of juniors, especially, and I'll say juniors, and they're the ones that will be the future of the whole sporting complex. Footy night training, they'll be probably going over for a couple of hours in the indoor training centre, so there'll be a lot of movement in that area. So it's just important that we do close that street off, and I think as it progresses, people will come to understand why we made that decision when we did. So it's going to be a wonderful complex for Wynyard in the future, long-term future, and I think we just need to get it started. So get behind it and make sure you pass the word around, answer any questions, and help the general public come to grips with what we're going to do. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Hyland. Are there any further speakers to this motion? Councillor Roberts?
Just to note, the 3-month trial we undertook on Austin Street with the road closure, the traffic impact assessment really did give us the data to analyse, and it has shown that the traffic has picked up on streets around Austin Street. The reality is that we've got to protect the safety of the children that are going to be playing sports in that region, and I know it might be a little bit of an issue for some, but I think that the priority of our people, our community members, is of the utmost importance. So I think it's a bit of a no-brainer, this one. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. Are there any speakers against the motion? If there are no speakers against the motion, I put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. Item 9.3, Sisters Beach Erosion. There are 3 parts to this recommendation. That Council note the community feedback in this report determines to implement the active sand and vegetation management access control action to address coastal erosion at the Sisters Creek Reserve as detailed in the Alluvium Consulting Report, and engage Alluvium Consulting to progress design and approvals processes associated with the recommend action. Could I have a mover for this motion, please?
So moved.
Councillor Roberts, could I have a seconder?
Second it.
Councillor Hyland. Councillor Roberts, do you wish to speak to this motion?
Just a quick one. We've seen some data as councillors in a workshop recently that showed that we are, in terms of councils around Australia, we're actually number 8 in terms of environmental work. So we're in the top 10 in Australia for the environmental work that happens locally, and places like Sisters Beach are just absolutely majestic places that really make our community what it is, and it goes to show that our council values the members of that community, and to take this to them and ask them really for their feedback about it, and to really take action for it, to really preserve what makes us so unique here. So I think this is an absolute no-brainer. Credit to the council and the community of Sisters Beach for the work that they do down there to preserve it, and let's see it last for a long time yet. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. Are there any speakers against the motion? Any further speakers for the motion? Councillor Hyland.
Yeah, thanks, Madam Chair. Well, I think we're getting to the stage where we can actually do some on-ground work, which is good. I think it was probably 3, I may be corrected, Mr Acting General Manager, 3 or 4 years ago, the council assisted a group in Sisters Beach, joined the Wildcare group, and commenced a lot of work around the creek. And I think from there now we can just get behind that group and the community and start the process of the active sand vegetation planting. I think we've got to start somewhere. There's another option, I think, out there with a couple of large rock walls, one either side of the creek in the middle of the beach. I think that's a long way off yet, and I think if we attack the bit of erosion that's happening now around the creek, and hope that we don't get too many rough easterly weather or the floods coming down the creek in the other direction and taking it out, but it's fairly stable currently, and I think we can support the group, support the community, and get some work done on the ground as soon as possible.
Thank you, Councillor Hyland. Are there any speakers against this motion? If not, I'm going to put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. Item 9.4, the Quarterly Information Report, Infrastructure and Development Services. There is a recommendation before you, councillors, that council note the Quarterly Information Report for the Infrastructure and Development Services Department as of the 31st of January 2025. Could I have a mover for that motion, please?
So moved.
Councillor Roberts, could I have a seconder, please?
Second.
Councillor Johnson. Councillor Roberts, do you wish to make any comments?
Just a quick one. I just really want to credit the work of our development and regulatory services, our engineering services, works and services. The asset management guys are incredible, and recreational planning and environment. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. Councillor Raw, do you wish to make a comment?
Yeah, I just had a couple of questions just to clarify. I notice in the report that it talks about the Anzac Park erosion mitigation. So I assume that's Anzac Park in Somerset, isn't it? And I was just wondering through the Mayor whether you'd be able to just explain what that was, and was it the planting out that's being recommended for
Thank you,
Sister
Councillor Raw.
Speech?
It will be through me to the Acting General Manager because he knows more than I do.
Yep.
Yeah, thanks for you, Mayor. You're very similar to Sisters Beach, so plantings and also some access control. You'll note some fencing that's gone in place as well. So.
Okay, so access to the beach, just stop. Yeah. Okay, and just the second question I had, I'm noticing that the in the information, the data on what's going to landfill, that has dropped significantly. But I think when we were implementing FOGO, it was saying that maybe that would drop by half. In the report, it mentions that they're hoping that is improving all the time, FOGO use. So I'm just assuming that over time, council would expect that landfill to go down to about half.
Thank you, Councillor Raw.
Through you, Mayor, look, we've got a goal in our waste strategy to divert 50% of waste from landfill, of
Right.
which FOGO would certainly be a significant proportion,
Yep.
but not necessarily 50% in and of itself. But if I refer to the historical tonnes per month of FOGO, you'll see by and large, month on month, that trend is increasing. That may stabilise based on seasonality, grass clippings and the like, but at the moment it points to increased take-up and usage for the curbside collection. So.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Summers.
Thank you.
Any further questions?
No,
Councillor
very
Raw?
interesting, all the data.
Okay, thank you for those. Are there any further speakers for or against this motion? If not, I put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. 9.5, the audited financial statements for the year ended 30th of June 2024. The recommendation is that Council receive the annual audited financial report for the year ended 30th of June 2024 and note that it is included in the annual report. Could I have a mover for that motion, please? Councillor Hyland, could I have a seconder, please? Councillor Raw. Councillor Hyland, do you wish to make any comments? Thank you. Are there any further speakers from the floor that wish to address this particular motion? If not, I put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. (9.6) The financial report for the period ended 31st of January 2025. The recommendation is that Council note this report. Could I have a mover for that motion, please?
So moved.
Councillor Roberts, could I have a seconder? Councillor Raw, thank you. Councillor Roberts, do you wish to make comment about this report?
I'll just quickly in the details, it'll say here that Council is currently tracking well against budget with a forecast favourable variance to budget of $201,000. So I just want to thank our financial department for doing such an incredible job at keeping us viable and sustainable, especially in a time of great investment. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. Are there any further speakers? If not, I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. 9.7 Senior Management Report. There is a recommendation before you, councillors, two parts. The first one is to note the monthly Senior Management Report. The second one is note that the lease at the Wynyard Multipurpose Community Facility commercial space will expire on the 30th of May 2025 and that council will commence the process to engage a suitably qualified leasing agent to run an expression of interest for the lease of the Watershed Cafe on a commercial basis. Could I have a mover for that motion, please?
So moved.
Councillor Roberts, could I have a seconder, please?
Seconded.
Councillor Harlan, Councillor Roberts, do you wish to open the debate on this motion, please?
Just a quick one. As I've learnt since my time at council that during COVID, the complete process couldn't necessarily be followed due to the limitations. So as a council, we just find that it's only fair to take it back through that process and send it back out to the public. So, yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. Are there any speakers against this motion? Are there any further speakers for this motion? No further speakers. I put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. 9.8, 9.8.1, minutes of other bodies, committees, sustainability and environmental advisory panel held on the 17th of December 2024. The recommendation is that you note the unconfirmed minutes of this committee or this advisory panel meeting held on the 17th of December 2024. Could I have a mover for this motion, please?
So moved.
Councillor Roberts and Councillor Raw is seconded the motion. Do you wish to speak to this motion, Councillor Roberts?
I just want to credit the work that the CAP committee does. It's incredible. Again, the work that this council does in the environmental space is incredible, and it really should be lauded. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. Councillor Raw?
Yes, through you, Mayor, I was just going to ask a question in there about the Ombudsman's Office review, and I noted that Wynyard was randomly selected, Waratah Wynyard was randomly selected to answer questions on the right to information, and
the Acting General Manager said this question is in relation to the previous report. Yeah, 9.8.1.
sorry, I'm not with you. Sorry, have I missed? Have we moved on to the next one? Sorry.
And I
Okay.
think you even seconded it.
Did I?
motion.
Right, yeah.
Thank you, Councillor Raw. Is there anything in this particular report, the 9.8.1, that you wish to address?
Me? No, not at all.
Thank you, Councillor Raw. Are there any further speakers for or against? If not, I put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. Item 10, matters proposed for consideration in the closed meeting. There is a recommendation that Council resolves by an absolute majority that the matters listed below be considered in the closed meeting. I ask for a mover.
So moved.
Councillor Bramich.
Seconded.
Councillor Roberts. I put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. Item 11 is closure of the meeting to the public. The recommendation is that the Council resolves by an absolute majority that go into closed meeting to consider the following matters at 6:52 p.m. Could I have a mover for that motion, please?
So moved.
Councillor Roberts.
And seconded.
Seconded Councillor Johnson. I put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Carried unanimously. So that is closure of the public meeting, and I now ask anyone in